Jesus receives a clear, urgent message. His close friend, Lazarus, is dying. Instead of rushing to help, he stays exactly where he is for 2 more days. The messengers didn't need a long speech to convince him. They simply said, "Lord, the one you love is sick." Jesus had a deep, documented history with Lazarus, Mary, and Martha. Sitting still while they suffered was entirely out of character, making this period of inaction difficult to defend. Jesus was far across the Jordan River, and Bethany was miles away. By the time a messenger reached him and he completed the return trek, a significant amount of time would have already passed. Staying put for an extra 48 hours virtually guaranteed that Lazarus would be in the grave by the time he arrived. Jesus heard the plea, understood the severity, and made a calculated choice to let a grieving family wait in silence. When Jesus announces it is time to return to Judea, the disciples react with immediate terror. Their fear is rooted in geography. Bethany sits less than 2 miles from Jerusalem, the city where authorities recently attempted to stone Jesus. Thomas bluntly assesses the risk. He tells the others, "Let us also go, that we may die with him." He knows they are walking into an execution, yet he chooses to follow anyway. They set out on a slow, tense walk through exposed canyons, heading straight back into hostile territory. Stepping toward Bethany meant entering the immediate crosshairs of his enemies. To reach his friend, Jesus had to walk toward the people actively plotting his death. By the time Jesus reaches Bethany, the mourning period is well underway, and the village is crowded with funeral visitors. Lazarus has been in the tomb for 4 days. In the 1st century, this specific time frame eliminated any hope of a coma or a mistaken diagnosis. The family and the village knew he was entirely gone. Both Martha and Mary confront Jesus with the exact same painful sentence. "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." They didn't doubt his power to heal. They were shattered by the realization that he chose not to show up in time to use it. The crowd wondered why a man who opened blind eyes let his close friend die. These direct confrontations ground the story in relatable human frustration, highlighting the emotional wreckage caused by the deliberate delay. Jesus knows he is about to perform a miracle, yet he doesn't bypass the local grief. He stops, looks at the people he loves, and he weeps. They reach the burial site. Rock-cut caves like this were typical, sealed with a heavy rolling stone. When Jesus orders the stone moved, Martha objects. She warns of the grotesque reality of a decaying body sealed away for 4 days. After the stone is moved, Jesus prays out loud so the witnesses can hear him. He wants the crowd to connect his next action to his divine authority before he calls out, "Lazarus, come out." The man walks out, still bound in his burial cloths and face wrappings. The people who buried him now have to unwrap him, facing breathing, physical proof of power over death. News of the event spread immediately. Witnesses left Bethany and went directly to the religious leaders to report what they had seen. The council did not spend time debating the theology of the resurrection. They were terrified that if the public flocked to Jesus, it would lead to a mass uprising. Judea existed under the constant threat of the Roman Empire. The council feared a large following for Jesus would provoke Rome to crush the nation and strip the local leaders of their power. Caiaphas, the high priest, made a brutal calculation. It was better to execute one man than to risk the destruction of the entire nation by Rome. By raising Lazarus, Jesus triggered a sequence of events that threatened the survival of the Judean state. From that day forward, the religious leaders began to plot the assassination of Jesus, a plot directly linked to his choice to delay his arrival in Bethany. By waiting those 4 days, Jesus ensured the miracle was undeniable, forcing the political leaders to kill him to maintain order. The late arrival at his friend's tomb served as the final, necessary trigger that pushed Jesus toward the cross.